So let's talk about the CARES Act, which was signed into law last month. It includes 6 months of relief for most federal student loan borrowers who are unable to make their payments at this time, and even some assistance for students. But there are some restrictions for those who may have other education loans. So what do you do if you fall into that category? Joining us now is CPA and founder of Miller and Company LLP, Paul Miller, to tell us about what we need to know regarding these student loans and the options that are out there. So Mr. Miller, thank you, first of all, for joining us.
Thanks, Betty, for having me. How are you?
I'm doing okay, but as you know, several people, they are really struggling with paying their bills, and student loans are a big issue. So what can borrowers do at the moment if they are unable to pay those loans right now?
Well, if you generally want to work with your bank and see if the bank will give you a forbearance, which generally will defer the interest and the principal for 6 months or roll it into the end of the loan, but it will not do what the CARES Act is doing for federal loans, which is automatically suspending the loans until September 30th, where there's no interest and no principal due.
So can they look into refinancing their debt or maybe even try getting a lower rate?
They can, it also depends on what is your status, what's your credit score, all the normal things when you go to refinance. Do you have money in the bank? A lot of these institutions are looking for that. But a lot of them, since the rates have gone down, it might be a good time to take advantage of that.
Okay, so let's say someone has a private student loan, right? And a loan that is not owned by the Department of Education. Explain to us how that is or is not covered under the CARE Act.
It depends. You have to check. It may not, even though you may be with a bank, it may be federally backed. So you have to go to the student aid website and check who the actual lender is, because you may not know, but that may be a federal loan and you may automatically be granted the extension. If you're not, you have to work.
No, go ahead.
If it's not, you're going to have to work with the individual institution.
Okay, so you got to do a little homework here. What about those who still have full-time jobs and are able to make payments? Can they still make their regular payments without having interest being added onto that?
Correct. This is a great time for you to take advantage of that, where you could pay directly and pay down principal, because not a lot of people are aware of it. When you take a student loan, it's practically taking a mortgage. So it compounds pretty intense. And I would recommend that if you could afford it, to pay down the principal and keep making your payments.
Okay. And aside from the CARES Act, which includes a high education emergency relief fund for current college students whose lives have been really disrupted by the coronavirus, before we let you go, explain how they can find out if they qualify for this fund and how much they will receive.
So the federal government gave the money directly to the colleges, and the colleges generally have been sending emails based on your FAFSA form submission, and it's an institution by institution how they're handling it. It's not one like paintbrush approach. Each college has gotten the money, and they generally have notified the students if they're eligible for it or not.
So if you haven't applied, is there still time?
Yeah, I think, again, you go to the student aid website, and then it'll tell you if you can apply, and you can see if you're eligible based on a needs-based method.
So there's a lot of options out there. Really, the key is navigating the process, because, as you know, we're getting new information daily on how the government is trying to help folks with their financial troubles during this time of the coronavirus. Paul Miller, thank you so much for your time and helping explain and walk us through this process. We do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.